welcome to Rangers Radio. I'm Linda, and joining me on the show tonight is Bridgeman and Billy. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Linda. Good evening, Bridgeman. Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing?
Well, can I say, Linda, good evening to Linda and good evening to the techie boys in the background and yourself, Billy. And I just say to all the Rangers fans listening in all over the world, good evening. Welcome to Rangers Radio.
How are you, Bridge? Were you pleased with your team's performance at the weekend?
Delightfully surprised. I didn't expect us to win, but I didn't score 3 goals. But, you know, although they did score 3 goals, it could have been 10, or you know what I mean? They could have scored a lot more goals than that. But I really played well. And I think we just let them in too many times, if you follow what I mean. But really and truly, we walked it. We just walked it.
Yeah, it was a kind of end of season feel to it, Billy. We'll go into the game in a wee bit more detail, but although it felt a wee bit like that, we still wanted them to go out and put on a bit of a show and get another victory.
Aye, we've still got to put on a performance. We're still going to go and get the 3 points in the game. Plus, we've got a responsibility, the supporters, to go out and play total football. To get the points for the game, because albeit the league's over, as we all well know, but we're still going to go and show that the players are still wanting to play for Rangers and put on a performance for the fans, and we got it yesterday.
Yeah, so talking a wee bit about the game, I thought we started the game quite well, Bridge. We hit the bar. I think it was from the Suter header from a corner. And then from another corner, I think King got on the end of it, and I think it actually maybe hit Lundstrom. And then Sakala had a chance as well where he cut in and he kind of shot right at the goalkeeper. So they made a good start, Bridge, and it kind of made you feel as if they were quite up for the game. Bridge?
Sorry, and I missed that. What did you say?
No, I'm saying we started the game quite well. We had a couple of chances. Suter hit the bar from a corner. We had another corner as well. King had a good header, and then Sakala had a nice turning shot, but he shot right at the goalie. So it made you feel as if they were up for the game and maybe we would get a few goals.
Well, I thought they were very unlucky not to get the goal in the first 3 minutes. You know, we tend to drop our head a wee bit and then pick it back up again. And I thought we were well worthy of a goal in the first 5 minutes. Well worthy of it. There's some smashing chances, and their goalkeeper made a good save from Sakala. We not hit the bar just earlier. Was it Suter that hit the bar? Something like that, anyway. You know, I think that it just shows you how close we were. But you know, we were up for it. We saw the goals were up for it. So. Very happy with it, very happy.
And Billy, we obviously we did start well, but they had a really good chance. I think it was Nisbet header. He put past the post. That was just before that we scored. It was down our right-hand side, and you know, you don't want to be too overcritical at Tavernier, considering what he's achieved for us this year as well. The many accolades, but a couple of chances they did get, Billy, came down our kind of right-hand side, but Nisbet was maybe a bit unfortunate with his header. He went past the post.
Aye, I think, see, that's what, we know what we get with James Tavernier. Like, the lad is 31-year-old now, like, you know, and if he was going to improve defensively, he'd done it long before now. But he deserves every one of his accolades he's got for the club, you know what I mean? Because going forward, he's been absolutely superb. He's been immense. His goal says it all, and what he contributes to the team. It's a shame that when we're picking thoughts in him, going back the way. But listen, we're no savaging James Tavernier. We're only being constructive with our criticism of it. And the guy, there were three incidents in the game. That one when the wee player out in the outside left position, he turned him inside out 2 or 3 times, and he flashed that ball across the goal, and your man, the big Hibs fella, flashed his header wide past the post. And then there was another one in the second half, I'm sure we'll get to that as well, when he get caught. And then the boy at the top as well, he get caught in that as well. But that's what happens when he's pushing forward. So, I mean, I think myself that if, I don't know if it's maybe too late now, but either we need to get one of our holding midfielders to drop into that position to cover for Tav when he's gone forward to give him a chance to get back, or we play a natural solid defensive right back in there and push Tav on one. That's the only options I can see there. But listen, he had a fantastic game, Tavernier, and I mean, we'll talk about his goal too. It was outstanding, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right about the formation. When you look at some of those chances that they got and they get in down our right-hand side, we can talk about that later on. But I agree with you, Billy. If you watch the game, it's because our full-backs are pushing so far up. And Lundstrom seemed to have been playing on the right as the cover for Tav, and maybe he just didn't do it. But Bridge, he stepped up and he does what he does, and the really great side to James Tavernier. So it was brilliant. It was a great ball, Bridge, wasn't it? It was from a great diagonal ball from your new hero, Mr. Suter, to Cantwell. Now, Cantwell's clearly fouled, in my opinion, Bridge. I don't know what you think. There's been a lot made about that he went down a bit too easy, but it's a clear foul. And then James Tavernier has a conversation with Hadji, takes the free kick and right into the top left-hand corner, Bridge.
The free kick incident went 100% free kick for me. I don't know what any mother will listen to me. Any of the players would disagree with. I think Hibs got away with murder with their fouls. Got away with murder. 5 minutes after the win for the free kick, they lost and goal to. They did the same again. Only I got a different player. Did the exact same thing. 2 hands in front of him and pushed him down. The referee played it on. So, that there's no consistency there, but really and truly, definite free kick for me, definite. I would have given my book in you, actually. You're lifting 2 hands and pushing someone down with your 2 hands. It's not right. Not right. Anyway, can I just say that for me, Tavernier had a fabulous game. I think it's really, really good. And Billy's right. There's maybe 3 or 4 times he looked as if he was all at sea. But then we know when Tav's trying to defend properly, he actually doesn't see. I don't think he sees the ball at certain angles, and then the ball just kind of goes over his head. And you're thinking, why did you not jump? Anyway, that's the way I see Tav, and he would be better if he get himself inside the post, to stop things. Because remember, Stephen Davis used to do that for us. He'd stand in the right hand post. He was absolutely brilliant at it. He cut a lot of balls. However, I thought Rangers played really, really well and got over any hurdles that we got with injuries and things like that. I thought we were asking like quite a sore one, but there was a few other ones that went in. Yeah. But the man, I thought quietly, I thought that Ryan Jack had a fantastic game for himself. Not injured. I think he played the whole 90 minutes or just about it. Absolutely superb. But for me, I would have certainly given man of the match to Tavernier. What a free kick. What a free kick. Wow.
It was a great free kick, Billy, wasn't it? Do you think there was any kind of fault attached to the goalkeeper? There's been a wee bit of debate about that, or was it just the pure quality of the strike from Tav?
Well, I don't see. This is. It doesn't annoy me anymore. I used to let it get to me, but it doesn't annoy me. We all know. Listen, James Tavernier scored a brilliant free kick. It's a stonewall foul, but as per usual, there's certain people out there in the media and whatnot are saying, it was a soft foul, it was never a foul, and the goalkeeper, they always try to take the shine off the positives that Rangers do, and that's a fact, eh? Now, it was a cracking diagonal ball for Big Suter, and Cantwell's onto it like a flash, and he's come inside the guy and he's mugged him. That's exactly what he's done. They could maybe argue that all his weight was on his left-hand side when he's turned to come back in. The guy's just stood. He's tried to come in. He's blocked him. It's a clear foul. So, I don't know where they're getting it. Wasn't a foul? And then obviously the free kick. Taverniers knew exactly what he's doing here, because if you watch the goal back 2 or 3 times, he's had a look, and he has another look, and he sees the keeper, and he says, and he puts his hand up. That's obviously been they've maybe been doing something like that in training, to put their hand up and they deliver the ball into different areas, and the players know exactly where the ball's gone to, if it's gone front post, middle, or the back, right? Yeah. But James Taverniers, he's put his hand up and he's knew exactly what he's doing, and he's mugged the keeper, and it's a fantastic finish. They can say what they want about the goalkeeper. There was no keeper in the world, and that's right in the top corner. You know what I mean? It was a brilliant goal.
Billy, there's a great wee clip. I don't know if you've seen it, doing its rounds on social media, and it's Tavernier talking to Hadji over the free kick. And I don't know whether Hadji was maybe wanting to have a go at putting it in, but Tav is saying to him, "Trust me." That's exactly what he said to him. So he's definitely knew right away what he was going to try. Yep. Obviously he's seen Marshall's maybe quite, he's a wee bit more further over than he probably should be, and he definitely tried. He's executed it absolutely brilliantly. So yeah,
sorry,
on you go, Billy.
When you see it, like, I think the angle that the keeper's looking at, the keeper's took a wee chance here, and he says to himself, "Nah, he'll no beat me for that angle," and he's been expecting that ball to get whipped to the tap, and for him to cover, because that's how, when you look at the goalkeeper, when he takes up his position, that's the position he's took up for that ball getting whipped into the between the 6-yard box and the penalty spot type thing. But he's took a chance here, and that's when Taverniers looked, and he says, "Oh, wait a minute here." He's been alert enough. Taverniers been alert enough and had the intelligence of his football brain to see, hold on, now I'm going to have a wee go at this, and that's how he's still had you. Just trust me, you know what I mean? And he's executed the goal brilliant. Yeah,
absolutely, totally agree, Billy. Fantastic goal from our skipper. And Bridge, we just before half time, they were still looking a wee bit dangerous, and they did have another chance, the one that Billy alluded to earlier. It was a Nisbet cross from our right again, and the player stretches at the back post, Bridge, and from a Hibs point of view, he was a wee bit unfortunate that he didn't get on the end of it, because if he does get on the end of it properly, it's probably one each, Bridge.
Yeah, I think the ball, he was about a yard short of the ball in reality, although I think he touched the ball and put it past the post, but his foot, there wasn't any real contact with it from a goal perspective. But yeah, it was a fantastic ball across our goal, and none of our defenders could see it, in my opinion, and neither did the goalkeeper. And that ball went through there, and my goodness gracious, we nearly paid for it. These are the things. It's a fine line. These are the things that infuriate you. That you're up the park there attacking, and all of a sudden either Ryan Jack or Lundstrom get the ball and misplace a pass, and before you know it, there's a cavalry charge on the break, and you're going to be 2 or 3 defenders back, and there's 5 of them, and that's the kind of thing that was happening to you sometimes. So I just think that they were unlucky, but it wasn't the only one. There was a few others they were very unlucky with as well. But I'm happy, and I'm always happy to beat Hibs. Always happy.
We're glad you're happy, Bridge. We're glad you're happy. So just before half time, I think we had the Sakala header, Billy, and it was a shame that he didn't do better with that, because we Red fan get down the left hand side. He got to the byline, clipped the ball across, and I think Sakala, it's just what you get from him, and I think he's got to score there. I don't know if you remember that one, Billy.
Aye, listen, that's what happens with Fashion Sakala. I mean, we love the wee guy to bits, but it's just his decision making at times that frustrates people. You know what I mean? Because he can come up with a bit of brilliance 1 minute, and then he can't do the basics properly, and then when he's clean through 1-on-1 with a keeper, like the game for talking sake up at Aberdeen, he shot it right at him, and then he goes round the keeper at Ibrox type things, so it's all down to decision making. But I think Fashion has to be try and work on being a wee bit more composed in front of the goalie, because he's got all the pace in the world to burn, you know what I mean? And teams our defenders, it's an absolute nightmare. And Bridge will tell, I'm sure he'll tell you himself, he wouldn't want to face a striker that's got blistering pace like for fashion Sakala has. But his execution in front of goal could be a lot better, and I'd like to see him just working on that a wee bit more harder.
Aye. And he's usually quite good at heading the ball as well, Billy, isn't he? So he's probably, you could see the reaction that he was disappointed. But we get to half time and obviously we're ahead, and probably we could have scored another couple of goals, but we could have conceded. So we're probably happy to go in 1-0 up. And in the second half, you just thought, hopefully we'll go on, maybe get another couple of goals. But Hibs actually started the second half quite well, and Bridge, there was a wee moment that gave some of the Rangers fans some concern at the beginning of the second half when a cross came in, and young McCrory seemed to flap a wee bit at it, Bridge, and we've not really seen that from him. And it goes past the post, but we were a wee bit fortunate maybe not to concede there, Bridge.
Yeah, I think we were quite fortunate maybe 4 or 5 times during the whole game. McCrory, maybe his eye wasn't in it. Maybe get a wee knock for someone next to him. But he went up to try and punch the ball and it wasn't there. And he went up to try and catch the ball and slipped out of his hands. These kind of things. Nightmare times for goalkeepers. I dare say he did settle down within himself, because sometimes these things can cause panic. And I congratulate him. And I think he did very, very well considering these wee weaknesses he found yesterday. Because the game before he was outstanding. Not a weakness, not a mistake, nothing. So he could easily have caused himself and Rangers a bit more problems because he's, shall we say, lackadaisical thinking. That's what I think it was. He just wasn't thinking at the time. Maybe lost concentration. But it's really difficult because he's the chap. He's got the goalkeeper's jersey and he's there to be beaten to get a place. So if Rangers go and buy someone, they're going to buy someone. They're not going to get someone. They're not going to buy someone to be reserved to McCrory. They're going to go and buy someone to take McCrory's place. That's what I think. If they go and buy someone, they might be happy with the lad, and that was just a wee one-off, I don't think so.
We're probably going to have to be a wee bit patient with him because, as Rangers fans, we sometimes go over the top in their praise, don't we? And we hype up players, and then as soon as they have a few shaky moments, we say, oh, wait a wee minute, he's maybe not as good as we thought. So it's very early doors for him, and we've got to give him a chance. So just after that, I think it was maybe just 55, 56 minute, I think, Hadji gets a goal, Billy, and it was a fantastic ball from Lundstrom up to Sakala. Sakala showing his good side. It was a great leap and a good knockdown. Hadji has a shot with his right foot. Probably was a penalty because I think it would come off the guy's hand, and then he just slams the ball into the bottom corner. And Billy, if ever we were pleased for a player, it would be young Hadji getting that goal, and we saw what it meant to him, didn't we?
Aye, it was a great ball into the box, and obviously the header. Back to what they're talking about fashion, you don't know what you're going to get with him. I mean, it's a brilliant leap, and he's actually, when you look at it as well, the goal back again, he's came running the guy, and he's jumped up, and he's used all. He's really stretched his neck muscles to head that ball back to Hadji into a great position, who's took up a great position. And obviously the wee man's had a shot and it came off the guy's hand. But what I liked about Hadji as well there to take the goal, when he scored the goal, he was first to react to that second ball. And that's a thing that we need to learn today as well, Linda, is react to second balls and win these second balls, because they're a big thing in football for me, especially in these situations. And if you react to the second ball just that wee bit sharper, you get your rewards. And Hadji, the wee man, proved that yesterday, and it was an absolute brilliant finish right in the bottom left corner, and it was richly deserved. The wee man's been out for a year. The emotion was all over his face. It was a joy to see the wee man back scoring goals again for the Rangers, because the wee man loves it. He loves the Rangers, so he does.
He does, Billy. In Bridge, you could see what it meant to him, and you don't want, as I said, don't want to go overboard, but you like to see players coming back from injury and all his teammates bridge all round him, and you could see he was very up. He was emotional, and it was lovely just to see that them all getting round him, wasn't it, Bridge?
Oh, you could bet your boots that they felt every bit as happy for him as we did. It's a massive weight off his shoulders, and it was a beautifully hit ball. Right low down in the corner. Tremendous. Considering there was a wee bit of some just earlier, but he really did. He got a hold of that and he just let it go. He's a lovely hit striker of the ball, and I thought it was a great goal for him. And I was so pleased for him. I'm really so pleased for him. And I thought at the end, if they wanted to 60 minutes, take him off, because I think they kept him on until 80, something like that. Maybe you guys could correct me, but I thought that was tremendous of him. So he's getting fitter, and that's a tough place to go, as Easter Road. Just a tough place to go, and he's done well. Some of the other players were getting a bit more heavily involved tackling wise. These people sometimes don't want to see anything, just kick above the grass, just bit it. But I thought Rangers did very well.
I mean, we had he's obviously come through the mill with that injury over a year. It was a very serious injury, and that'll give his confidence the world of good. And he also took a couple of heavy challenges as well, Billy, that'll see him in good stead, because he got up and he was able to get on with it.
That's exactly right. And when these players come back for a lengthy injury like that, and obviously his body's getting stronger again to compensate for the injury. When he's taking a few clatters in the game, that he can put that to the back of his mind as well, because the first couple of tackles, for talking sake, if you're coming back for an injury, you'll be a wee bit wary of that in your head. Is this going to go again? Can my body stand up to it? So he's had a couple of rattles in there, and he's got back up and he's felt strong. So that's another wee thing in his head for his confidence, because you'll know now, well, hold on now, my knee's nice and strong now. You know what I mean? I can take that. Obviously, there's different... there could be different circumstances that maybe could happen differently, but we don't know that. But as for now, I mean, it's all confidence with the boy, and as I said, he's worked so hard to get back into the team to recover for his injury, and to top it off with a goal. It was brilliant to see the players all around him as well, Linda, Bridgeman, to see them all celebrating him, because they knew how much it meant to the wee man, But as I said, Linda, it was good for him to get a few clatter and challenges as well, just to build his confidence up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of wee half chances after that. Sakala had another good shot, and then Nisbet had a header. I remember McCrory actually made a good save from that. Lundstrom had a good shot as well, and then Bridge, we got our third goal through our star player just now, Todd Cantwell. Good build up play, Bridge. I think Tav had the shot, and then it came back off him and it broke to Cantwell, but he's in the right place. Bridge gets himself another goal and a nice wee celebration after that.
Oh yeah, he likes his celebration. He loves himself to bits, him. And it's great to see a big smile on his face when it happens, and he goes over and communicates with the fans. I think that's wonderful too, But he's a midfielder who ends up in the box. Arfield's very like that as well. He ends up in the box and he gets it on the front foot inside the box. And if he's there, he'll smash the ball. And that's it. We want people, when they're midfielders, to be up there when everything's happening. So, everything went right. The blockages here, and so-and-so's trying to do this, and all of a sudden the ball breaks and he's there, bang, in the net. And it wasn't just a wee pass, it was the trash side of the net. So I'm very pleased for him. And he's slowly but surely becoming a massive player for Rangers. Massive player. I'm just hoping in my heart that we can get him to the end of the season without any injuries. Same with Hadji. Get to the end of the season. Play, but get to the end of the season, no injuries, and then look forward to going into a full pre-season and that'll be fantastic for all of our club, everybody in the club, everybody that's there, ready to go in for a pre-season, get in there and get it done. Because you can tell when a player's not had it. It takes 6 weeks to get back into the game again instead of you're in it, you know.
Yeah, Billy, fifth goal for Cantwell, 18 appearances, 13, 14 starts, I think. We've got a player there, Billy.
Yeah, I'll say it before on the show, and I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it. The first time I clapped eyes on the boy when he made his debut Ibrox for Ross County, I think it was, me and my wee brother were sitting at the game watching them play that day, and we could not believe what we were watching. I mean, this. I'll say it again as well, Linda. This is a guy. This is a footballer. Remember, I've got to remember this. This is a footballer who was gone from Norwich to Aston Villa for £40 million. That's what we've got in our armoury now. That's a quality footballer that we've got playing for Glasgow Rangers. And he's absolutely cakewalking it up here, and he'll continue to cakewalk it up here because he's just got everything. He's got everything. He's got 2 great feet. He puts himself about. He works his socks off. He wants to get on the end of things. He wants to make things happen. He's passionate. He's full of running. He's got a huge heart, and he puts himself about, and he just gets it. He gets what we're all about, and he is one of. He's going to be really some footballer for Glasgow Rangers, Linda. And when, as Bridge said there, when he gets, I cannot wait till he gets a full pre-season under him and we see Todd Cantwell kick on the second half of the season, because that is one hell of a footballer.
Bridge, any concerns about the yellow cards? I mean, you don't want to make too much of it, but I think 6 or 7 yellows, and I saw a wee stat that in 120 games for Norwich or something like that, he only had 4 yellows. So I don't know, Bridge, you don't want to suggest he's been refereed differently, but that is a wee slight concern, Bridge, maybe the number of yellow cards.
He's an easy target. You know, he's flamboyant on the park, quite easy target. And he tries to get everything decision-wise. He always tries to get every decision. But I don't think he's a dirty player, unless you guys see it differently. So I wonder what the referees are seeing when they see. Don't get me wrong, the referee might see better than I would ever see. But I just don't believe. I don't believe half the shit that comes out, you know. And the amount of cards is nonsense.
I think a few of them, Bridge, I think a few of them, it's been because of he's maybe got involved with some players, but you don't know what's going on in the park there. I don't think he's dirty at all, and he, as Billy said, he's everywhere. But you don't want to take that part out of his game. But I'm sure that's something that the manager will be keeping an eye on, because you don't want to end up with him, you know, picking up suspensions. But there's just a side to his game. You need to keep that, don't you, Billy? You need to keep the aggression and the getting in about it. And I'm afraid sometimes you just pick up yellows because you play like that, don't you?
Aye, listen, that happens. It happens. It happens, you know what I mean? If he's playing on the edge, that's what happens. But you've got to remember as well, this is why I see it. I don't see him as a dirty player, because he's far from a dirty player. What I see is he's a ball player, right? And he's going to take kicks constantly. He will take kicks in games. That's a fact. He's playing football. You know what I mean? So the guy, he's going to get frustrated at times and saying to the referee, well, where's my protection here? And maybe when he's took maybe 6 or 7 clatters in the game, and he's maybe saying to himself, well, how am I not getting any protection off the referee? And then when he goes makes a challenge, they're getting a cared out for it, or he's maybe yapping during the game and saying, well, come on, ref, what's going on here? You know what I mean? And that's all back down to consistency of refereeing in Scotland. And we know, I mean, we didn't want to go down that road, I'm sure, but we know how inconsistent the referees are in Scotland. So that could be a frustrating part for him as well. But
that's the whole show itself, Billy.
All right.
Can I come in, Linda?
Yeah, and you come, Bridge, but
sorry,
remember, you
Billy,
have to take it easy.
You know, Linda, I was going to say, the manager at some point has to take him aside and say, look, they're wearing a blue jersey, and in Scotland sometimes that doesn't go doing too well. So watch what you're doing, be careful, and don't do crazy stuff, because you could end up with a reputation like Morelos, and that's what he's got to watch. I mean, a reputation among the referees, right? Because they're probably looking for him. Dead easy, first booking. There you go. Cantwell. And so sometimes when that happens, the other referees are taking note and they start to look out. And we don't want him to be doing that to Cantwell. Cantwell's too important for us at the moment.
Yeah, that's a fair shout, actually, Bridge, in terms of the comparison. So we actually conceded a goal at the end, and it was a bit not unlucky, but it was Robbie McCrory wasn't very pleased, but it was just one of those things. I think the young boy Ewer, he got beat at the near post, but at the end of the day, we'll take the 3-1. So yeah, so that was the game yesterday, and we'll get the phone lines open, see if we can get some callers in, see what they've got to think about the game, and maybe we'll talk a wee bit about the Player of the Year awards and other things that have been going on. So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
So Billy, who was the star man for you against Hibs?
I thought Tavernier was one contender for the man of the match, even though he had his defensive frailties. I thought Todd Cantwell had a great game, and I thought Ryan Jack was superb, Linda. So any one of the three.
And do you think we're justified in giving Jack the new contract, Billy?
If you can keep him fit, that's the problem with Ryan Jack. We've just got to keep him fit. Nobody can doubt Ryan Jack's ability. It's back to what I was talking about. We can constructive criticism regarding his injury record, but we've got to keep him fit, and that's the bottom line. And if we can keep him fit, that's the player you get for Ryan Jack.
Bridge, what about yourself? Player of the match for you?
I thought Tav was outstanding in a fabulous goal, but I thought very closely followed by Todd Cantwell, who was magic, and agreeing with Ryan Jack. I think that was a good. I don't think our keeper covered himself in glory, so he wouldn't get a man of the match like close to it, But I think that those three, I thought they had really good games for us, and I can't think of the defence in general played quite well, and Mr. Suter again quite solid, caught everything, just about everything in the air. Our difficulty, of course, is that the speed of the opposition now that are coming on top is when you're getting long balls coming at 25 mile an hour and bouncing. If you don't get that ball before it bounces, you've had it, because these guys will nip right in front of you easily. It's kind of different, a bit different.
And Bridge, with the news about Connor Golson obviously missing the game, and Michael Beale saying after the Hibs game that it's possible he'll be out for 10 weeks. That's a real blow, Bridge, isn't it?
Well, I'm a bit suspicious of that, in the sense that it was all, because I think that's the same injury he had that kept him out for such a long time. I think it's something to do with his foot then.
Yeah.
So it may be a small repeat, and they're nipping it in the bud. But if he's out for 10 weeks, it's a major blow. Fortunately, it's close season. We've only got 2 games to go. And by the way, when on Saturday or Sunday, you didn't miss him. The boys were good. The 2 boys were good. So you didn't miss. It's sad to say that, but you didn't really miss him. We did enough. The boys got tore in and did what they need to do. What you did miss, because you saw Suter playing these big long diagonals, which is Goldson's forte. He does lovely passes when it's on song, but Suter did that. So Suter's got a chance to shine, and shine brightly. And I don't know if Davis will ever get his position back, because young King has done very well. So we'll need to wait and see on that. The manager might like Davies, and that's all there is to it. But he needs to be, if you're going to bring Davies back in, he needs to be a lot, shall we say, tougher in his tackles and things like that. He's a nice player, but he gets easily beaten.
Yeah. And Billy, with Golson potentially missing they think they said 10 weeks he should be back for the start of the season, but he'll obviously be playing a bit of catch up. We had Suter, who performed very well, and young King actually did okay, probably because he had a recognised centre back beside him, Billy, rather than when he was thrown in with young Sands earlier on in the season.
Aye. See, that's if Golson's got to be out for a wee while, then we obviously need these players now to come in and to perform in that position. They're getting their chance now to go and prove to themselves, first and foremost, and the manager what they can do on a regular basis. I mean, it's maybe a blessing in disguise for the likes of Leon King. They maybe get a chance now to be settled and play in there, or whoever the gaffer thinks his defensive partnership is going to be. And there's a possibility, if that's the case as well, we maybe need to bring in another centre half in the summer as well. So but you've got to, when players like, for talk's sake, Connor Golson are out injured for a lengthy period of time now, then you've got to, the players that want to play in that position, they've got to come in and do a job now in that position. And what the two players will be in there, I do not know. I disagree with a wee bit about Bridgman. I like the laddie Davis at centre half. I know he could be a wee bit more tougher, but I like his football brain at the back. I like that, and he's got a lovely left foot on him. And it's when him and Golson, for talk's sake, were playing in that area of the field, it's a nice balanced setup. With Golson being right-footed and Davis being left-footed. But as I said, if Leon King and Big Suter are got to be that, they're got to get the nod, and that's got to be repaired, and then so be it. That maybe be one we never seen coming, and the two of them maybe going and knock it off in that area.
When he's talking about strengthening the centre half position as well, I think, isn't he? And I think, Bridge, you always like to have that balance where you've got that left-sided player playing in the centre partnership. And if for talking's sake, Bridge, we were to let Davies go, just say that they got a reasonable offer in from him, there's absolutely no way we could go into the new season without another left-sided centre back.
I've got to agree with that. I think if there's any money on the table at all for Davies, I think he'll take it. I really do, because what you're looking for there is, I like the boy. I like Davies. He's not a bad player. Very good with the left foot, but Rangers need a bit more. And someone like Helander is who Rangers really want. Somebody sort of way above 6 feet, left-footed, and a good footballer. And unfortunately for Helander, he took a really bad injury, and he'll disappear at the end of the season in all probability, with a few others. But he was a smash. He scored a couple of good goals for us, and I never say die. Very rarely ever beaten on the run. Someone he would get a long leg in and get the ball away a lot of the times. And I thought we need to have someone like that replaced. And I'm looking for a big 6'5" monster, left-footed killer. That's what I'm looking for. A killer.
You're looking for a Tiger Jock Shaw or a George Young, eh?
Just exactly. I'm young and I'm old enough. I was young enough or old enough to remember George Young in pictures. Never saw him playing, but I saw pictures of him, easily recognisable.
That could be a question for the callers of the phone in tonight, Bridge. Who would be your ideal centre back if you could bring one centre back from the past, bring them into the team just now?
Rangers centre back.
Rangers centre back. Who would it be? Reincarnated, and they're not allowed to say Bridgeman. So after the game, Michael Beale's presser, he kind of told us a few things that maybe we didn't realise. We were all wondering why Morelos wasn't even on the bench. Obviously, we found out about the Golson injury. We also heard as well that Matondo had picked up an injury in training. And Billy, this injury situation, we've covered it so many times, but when are we going to get a bit of a break from it?
I think the quicker the season comes to an end, the better for everybody, to just put a pen right through this season, because it's been horrendous. I mean, every single footballer, apart from I think one or two, have been out injured, out of full squad. It's been horrendous. We can sit and debate it and talk about it all we want. You know, it's an absolute head scratcher, isn't it? What's went on here? We've just had not any one iota of luck all season regarding on the injury front, none whatsoever. And let's just hope that that when the season's finished and we can get a good pre-season into these players' legs and get them all back fit and healthy, that'll just be a thing of the past. It's as simple as that.
Billy, what were the injuries again that came up for the weekend?
What was that, sorry?
What were the injuries? What players were injured?
No, I think Linda was asking, but we've not had luck with injuries for all the players throughout the season, Bridge. That's what that's explaining me.
I remember hearing the manager's an interview with the manager, and he was saying, I heard them saying something, we've got no much luck, because there were another couple of players that I'd never heard their names. So I just wondered if you knew if they've been injured.
Yeah,
recently,
Bridge.
like yesterday.
Yeah, Bridge. He said at the end of the press conference when he was asked about, when he first came in, he was asked about the performance, and he said that he was particularly pleased because of the preparation that they'd had. Bridge. He said, and then he went on and said that several players had actually ended up injured in training the day before. Morelos was one of them. He talked about Matondo was I don't even know if Matondo was on the bench yesterday. He was actually, but he was actually carrying an injury. And then he also told us about Connor Golson. So there was a few others, and that's why some of the youngsters were on the bench as well, Bridge. Because when you looked at it, there was 3 or 4 of them from the B team on the bench. All these players that were unavailable. He was absolutely delighted with the result, I think.
I absolutely agree 100% with what Billy was saying. That we'll have a terrible luck insofar as injuries are concerned this season. Absolutely shocking luck. And if you think about it, if we carried a bit of luck, and we'd be a lot closer to them than we are, when you consider their results of late,
I suppose injuries happen to every club, but we just seem to have had our fair share and some this season. And let's hope that we can actually get a better clean bill of health next year. I mean, you can cope with some injuries, but this just seems to have been unbelievable for us. So Billy was talking a wee bit in the presser as well, just about some announcements tomorrow to sort of clarify what players will be leaving. I suspect it's probably the ones that are out of contract that they'll finally tell us who's actually going, so that some maybe farewells can be said to players, or they'll get a chance to say farewell to the fans on Wednesday night. And he also hinted as well, Billy, that potentially the news about a new signing.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to put a lot of things to bed regarding what we all think about who should stay and who should be moving on. That's great to hear that they've got that all sorted out. Moving forward, the players are getting told who's obviously getting a new contract, who's not getting a contract, who's not coming back. And it's also good to know that we're going to be maybe getting an announcement. Maybe some players signing as well, so it's all good to hear, isn't it?
Yeah, and Bridge, I don't expect there to be any more announcements in terms of new contracts for those that their contracts are expired. I think probably Ryan Jack was the one we all thought. Obviously Kent and Morelos are definitely leaving, and the other, obviously Alan McGregor as well. The other one that was maybe up for debate is Scott Arfield, Bridge, but I think if he was maybe going to be given a new contract, we would have heard at the same time as Jack last week, Bridge.
Something tells me he's already been offered it. So I don't know. But I think I had said before, and I actually thought they could quite easily let Ryan Jack go. And I thought they should keep Arfield. But based on what I saw last couple of games, I think Ryan Jack has played very, very well. I mean, really well. And it doesn't look as if he's injured at all. You know what I mean? They were always worried about the sick note type with the reputation he was getting, you know. And he's always injured. But in 2 games, he's played very, very well in 2 games. And I'll not say he never put a foot wrong, because he always puts a foot wrong. He always makes some crazy passes, you know. I think it's caught out there.
So it'd be good to hear from people, see what you think about the game. Any thoughts about the game from Saturday? Is there any players that you expect that we will announce? Who would you suggest it's going to be? So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
So, Billy, in terms of potential announcements on signings, you would suspect that it might be somebody that's maybe coming in a Bosman whose contract's obviously, finished, and we can actually make those types of signings at this present moment in time, because obviously the season's still going on and, across Europe, etc. But do you expect it to be maybe somebody like the boy Dowell or the guy Sterling that's been heavily linked with us?
To be perfectly honest, Yolanda, I haven't got a clue who we're going to. That's me being brutally honest. I haven't got a clue. But what I will say is, if the players on Bosman's is coming in, I think that could maybe be one of the transfer rumours going through the treadmill type thing for who we're going to bring in, because other players will still be under contract, and it would be disrespecting the player, the Rangers, and the team who the player is still with. So I don't think we'll hear anything going down that road until maybe the summertime, when it's rubber stamped and official that way. But as I said, it could be. I would imagine so. It'll be one of the Bosman type things where players are out of contract and they'll be able to announce that kind of thing. So that's a bit. It'll be interesting either way, just to see who we're going to bring in. Type thing,
But who do you think?
Sorry, Bridge, on you go. I was just going to say, Bridge, it would be good if we had some announcement on Wednesday, just to get the crowd up. Yeah,
that's a question I was going to ask, related to Wednesday night, because he did say there would be a player there, a new signing, appearing at Ibrox. I don't know in what capacity, whether he's just going to be a spectator or whether he's actually going to be a signed man and come out with the scarf on and things like that, which is that's normally official, that he's a Rangers, he's signed for us, get those scarf above the head. I would love that. I've got no idea, like yourself, Billy, absolutely no idea, and I'm happy with that, because the manager and his team are obviously doing the right thing. If they're going for targets, they'll get them. They'll keep their mouth shut until it happens. That'd be the best thing.
I mean, with Michael Beale, he's been talking about how there's been a lot of work already done in the background, because obviously we know director of football in post just now. He's constantly been asked about it and how he's coping with having the kind of additional responsibility, Billy. But I think with Michael Beale, he doesn't mind that. That's the impression that you get. And I wouldn't imagine it's just one player for each position he wants to bring in. He'll have backups in case deals maybe don't go through.
You've got to have a list of targets who you want to get. Some you'll get, some you'll know. The other clubs will be all interested. It's the transfer market in football it'll be crazy, especially over the summer times, because It's not just Rangers that will be looking to strengthen or move players on. All the clubs will be at it as well. So we'll just, as I said, we'll just need to wait and see, Linda, what it'll be like, But regarding listen, it could be a blockbuster. We never know. That's a good. As long as it's not another Aaron Ramsey, and that's one against the laddie right in the job.
Very good, Aaron Ramsey. I love it.
But listen,
Actually, I have to be honest with you, Billy. I was excited when we signed him. I thought he was going to come up and just step right in and do the business. I never realised just how badly injured he was, or how unfit, should I say. He was very, very unfit, very unfit. And you only started to see, not even the best of him, you only started to see that he could actually play football when the season was finishing,
I think from our perspective, I think we want to see players that are fit. They've played a bit of football as well, and I know Cantwell and Raskin hadn't, and they've managed to get up to speed probably a bit more quickly than we would have expected. But I think the type of signings we do want, Billy, is probably people that have played a bit of football. But then you look at Tom Lawrence, he played all those games for his previous clubs, and then he picks up that sort of freak injury that's kept him out for nearly a season. But players like that he'll be like a new signing as well, Billy, won't he, Tom Lawrence?
That's another one I liked right away. When I seen Tom Lawrence, he looks a proper left-sided solid midfielder, and he was getting himself up and down the park as well, and he was just unlucky when he got injured because he was starting to really hit a bit of form, I thought, for Rangers at that time, and he was bringing other things to the team that, for talking's sake, I think sometimes are a wee bit tippy-tappy in front of goals, and will not get shots off quick enough. But he was one of the players that impressed me. He wasn't feared to get a shot away quick, But if we can get Tom Lawrence fit and healthy and get a good pre-season in him, hopefully, then I think Tom Lawrence has got a hell of a lot to offer Rangers going forward in the next couple of seasons if we can get him back up to speed again. Because I really like the look of Tom Lawrence, Linda.
And that's a good point you make, Billy. I'll just bring Bridge back in. This thing about scoring goals as well, Bridge. Tom Lawrence looked as if he was going to contribute, from a position sort of, off the forward line. But if you think about this season, Bridge, our right back has ended up being top goal scorer again. And whilst you want your right back to contribute, going forward, we can't keep relying on Tav for all these goals, Bridge.
Well, I think we've got to be realistic. I think probably, I don't know, maybe 8 penalties or something like that this season, which is quite a considerable amount of penalties. And the rest have been free kicks and penalties, should I say. And the rest, maybe a couple from outfield scoring. I think he scored more outfield goals last year than penalties. I think this year is probably more penalties. But it's quite incredible how good Tav is with these things, And yeah, that's a dilemma we've got. What do you do with Tav? Can we afford to let Tav go anywhere? He's taking away probably 13, 14 goals a season, or more. And can you afford to leave that out anywhere? No, we can't. So we're now a luxury we can't afford to lose, if you follow what I mean, I think it's sad. Tom Lawrence started off a whirlwind, fantastic player, absolutely brilliant. He got a wee injury, came back on, and all of a sudden he gets another wee injury similar, and before you know it, he's out. And I don't know what injury he actually got, and I don't know. He has two breakdowns in his recovery, so that doesn't augur well for the lad. So let's hope he's okay and he's still ready for training, for pre-season training. I don't know if he comes back straight away for pre-season training. I don't think he'll do any because it'll be too much. I think he needs to do quite a bit of training before he goes in for a pre-season. That's the way I look at it. That's what we had to do in my play.
And Billy, with Tavernier and his goal, his goal involvements, it's an incredible record. He's got, 100th goal, a wee while, just a few weeks ago. 400th appearance at the weekend as well, since 2015. I mean, he's returned some amount of games, but you can't continually rely on your right back, Billy. We've got to get goals from other areas, and we're talking about multiple goals from other areas of the pitch.
Everybody's got to chip in with goals throughout the season. That's, I mean, you're looking for a Rangers number 9 to score 25, 30 goals a season, aren't you? And then you're talking, have you got your midfield to contribute with, I don't know, between maybe 10 and 15 goals each. You know what I mean, throughout the season. There's another 45 goals. You know what I mean? So if you can spread that round about your team and get the rest of the team to contribute with goals, that's how you win titles and cups and trophies. You know, it's about sharing the weight. But listen, James Tavernier, I mean, his goals for is second to none for a so-called right back. He's a wing back in my opinion, or that style of football, the modern day wing back or whatever they want to call it. But I'd like to see Rangers, and that's up to the manager to work that one out and come up with a system and a plan. But if James Tavernier is contributing that for his position at right back, they should maybe just try him in there, push him up one, and get a proper full-back to sit in behind him. Then when you do that, you've got a proper full-back sitting in behind him that can cover for Tav. You've got a defensive right-back who can sit in there and defend properly. Then you've still got that goal threat to Tavernier going forward. So to me, that makes total football sense. But how we're going to come up with a system to do that is a different matter, because you would need to juggle the team about and obviously have the players fit and healthy and no injured at your disposable to do that. Plus, if you can change formations in games and no go the 4-2-3-1 type thing, if you can change formations about, it stops you becoming predictable. And when you do that, other teams can't suss you out.
Bridge, where do you stand on that in terms of pushing Tav up one?
No, I'm quite happy with Tav. Obviously, we're not happy. Tav needs some help, or the defence needs some help. And if we are expecting Tav to go up right up front and follow his app and go up there and try to score, then we have to pay for that in another way. We have to get one of our midfield boys to stay back. But unfortunately, sometimes we end up with everybody that wants to score a goal or get up there and you have huge 30-yard gap between your defence and your midfield, who are actually still doing it near the goal. You can't do it. We really need to have someone else supplying a bit of defensive magic in there. You know, somebody can run, pick the ball up. That kind of thing is necessary when Tav's not there. And to me, it's quite easy. I would have Lundstrom doing it. Lundstrom, you just back him up, and that's all there is to it. When he goes past you, you just stay back inside our own half and cover the right wing back spot, you know, or indeed the right half spot. You should be able to cover all of them. If there's three attackers, then you're knackered, you know.
Maybe Michael Beale's got something up his sleeve. Maybe we'll see something like that next season. So we're heading for a tune now, guys.
All right, okay.
After the tune, we'll hopefully get some people calling in. Give us your thoughts, anything you want to talk about. So get yourselves on mute. We're going to have a tune.
I'd been in exile for some years and my eyes filled up with tears when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. So I took a trip along just to hear some famous songs when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. I stood there all alone while the boys all down from home sang of Rangers, that team of great renown. And a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers, one of the famous songs they sung, and a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. Now on the field below, the boys put on a show, the likes they'd never seen at Molyneux. And it's football, it was grand, from Macmillan, Scott and Brand, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers, one of the famous songs they sung, and a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. Now the league flag must come nearer, with men like Bobby Shearer, the way he played at Wolverhampton town. And the world forever after would sing of Jimmy Baxter, for on his head they placed that noble crown. There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers, one of the famous songs they sung, and a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. Now I knew it had to happen, I heard a mighty roar, the famous Glasgow Rangers they had scored. And the sky was white and blue, Wolverhampton shook right through, the loyal ramping Rangers had come through. There's not a team like the Glasgow Rangers, one of the famous songs they sung, and a sight I'd never seen when they sang God Save the Queen, when the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town. When the Rangers came to Wolverhampton town.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Thank you for that, Fox. That was a feet tapping tune. I hope everybody enjoyed it. It was a wee bit of a shame for Rangers women's team yesterday. I don't know if Billy or Bridge managed to catch any of the ladies' game. They needed obviously to beat Glasgow City yesterday and match Celtic women's result, and unfortunately they just couldn't get the job done. Billy, I don't know if you managed to catch any of it.
I seen a wee bits of it. Listen, the Rangers ladies have done magnificently well, haven't they? And they asked for a wee turnout for the Rangers supporters at Ibrox, and they got a nice wee turnout. They were all fair and lucky, you know what I mean? But they just came up a wee bit short, getting beat 1-0. But listen, they got that Glasgow City team, the ladies team. They've dominated the ladies football for a right number of years, haven't they? So obviously we didn't want them. We didn't want anything associated with Rangers to come second. But unfortunately, the lassies just came up a wee bit short. But I'm sure they'll be determined to try and go one further and better themselves for next season. And let's hope they can do it.
And Bridge, just to touch on that a wee bit more, I mean, the ladies' team suffered the same sort of a fate as the men's team, in that they couldn't score goals, Bridge. It's a wee bit of a common theme across the club when you even look at the B team and the youth. They create chances, Bridge, but we don't score enough goals, and they've conceded quite a lot of late goals, Bridge, that's cost them dearly.
It's like a mirror of us, isn't it? Like a mirror of us. And that goal we lost in the last minute against that mob, that was a shocking goal. Absolutely shocking goal. And not one single defender was anywhere near the ball. Nobody. The goalkeeper was lost. The whole defence was all at sea there. And Alan Hanlon, he's one of the oldest centre-backs and left-backs in the league, goes in there and scores a cracking goal, by the way. Great header. And it just sailed into your net. And that's why I say nobody at the far post. all these bodies in the box, and the ball goes past all of them. And I think it's short. But anyway, we're not talking about that. I agree with you. We have got a shortage, a massive shortage of a striker. Massive shortage. We can't have it that we've got Cholak and we've got Roof. Roof is not going to come back probably, possibly. Cholak, I hope he does. But seriously, we're Glasgow Rangers and we don't have a centre forward. I'm sorry. Utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. That's what I've got to say about that.
So, guys,
and that's including the lasses.
No, I think, Billy, I think there is a real common problem across the whole club. You know, I was being serious when I was talking about that there. You know, watching games recently, Billy, you know, we've started to score some, you know, more goals since Michael Beale came in. But when you think about some of these chances that we've missed in big games, and you think about the men's first team, you think about the youth teams, and then obviously, as I mentioned there, the women's team. We need to find players. We need to find a system. We need to coach them if that's what it takes. You know, we need to find goals and we need to take our chances.
That's obviously goals win you games, doesn't it? And you've got to keep a clean sheet at the other side of the park as well. But I think we're looking for to be more clinical, be more ruthless in front of goals. And take these chances, because I mean some of the chances that we've been creating throughout the season it's been mental amount of chances, and we're only maybe scoring 1 or 2 goals. But saying that as well, Linda, when we look at the league table just now, for talking's sake, we've scored 88 goals this season. So on average, type thing, with a couple of games to go, we're on course to beat. Crazy as it is, to beat how many goals we scored last season, you know, and that's us. We're finished runners up on this season, so that in itself is mental when you've scored more goals prior to a season and still finished runner up. But you know as yourselves know that we should be scoring a hell of a lot more goals through the chances we're creating. But we've got, as I said, Linda, we've got to get the full team to contribute more, because we can't just rely on, for talking's sake, James Tavernier and a Rangers number 9. The full team needs to contribute more. But I'm sure that'll come when we get a settled starting 11 playing week in, week out. I'm sure that'll come, because regarding our injuries, again, I don't want to keep harping on the injuries, but I mean, for talking's sake, we've got 32 players in our books, and there's 11 of them out injured now. I mean, that's the manager's picking a team with one hand tied behind his back, because it's a 1-3 ratio of the players that's out, you know. So when you throw that into the mix, plus players out of form, players picking up injuries, suspensions, and a team a settled 11 playing week in, week out, then to score that amount of goals, albeit we want more for the chances we created, it's still quite a positive thing as well when you look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, and I suppose, Bridge, he'll be needing to look at the formation, because in times gone by, the recent seasons, we've relied a lot on our wide players in terms of the way that we set up. But this season, Bridge, if you think about our wide players, say for talking's sake, we go with Kent, Sakala, Matondo and maybe Scott Wright. Between them, Bridge, they've only scored 12 goals. But then if you throw into maybe a slightly different formation and you bring in somebody like Cantwell and Tillman, I mean, Cantwell scored 5 goals already in a short space of time, and Tillman scored 12. So maybe we need to think about that, Bridge, that it's not just relying on wide players to contribute. We need to look at players that play in other positions out with the centre forward.
Yeah, 100%. But I think you've got to remember the model that we use is the two doing the wing. It doesn't matter whether it's somebody running out to the wing or whether it's a full-back coming up, but it's a cross into the box, or preferably a really hard cross into the box. let somebody come in ahead or score a goal. That, to me, is the way Rangers like to play. Get around the back of the fullbacks and get the ball across. We've scored a lot of goals that way. But when you've not got a centre forward that can score the goals, if he's off form, you name it, if he's a wee bit injured, anything at all, we don't have anybody that can do that. We're at a wit's end. Because I've stood at Ibrox that many times, that many times now in the last couple of years, and watched us come up against a Motherwell that's playing 9 across the line, 9 players across the 18-yard box, and then 3 of them drop back to the 6-yard box, and all this nonsense, it's just killing the game, or killing our enjoyment in the game. But what's even worse is that we kind of doing about it. We find it impossible to get through them. Every now and again we get a free kick and it breaks it, and that gives you a chance. We'll beat most of the teams, but we do struggle. You maybe win 1-0, and it's maybe you get the first goal in. It's 15, 20 minutes to go. They run out of legs. Then their spirits go down, and you name it, and all of a sudden we could pile of goals in. But dear, our inability to score, get through, and we are not alone. A lot of good teams can't do it, and in their respective leagues, they just can't get past the low block, they call it, speciality low block, and we really, really do need a centre forward. Desperately need a centre forward. Seriously, guys. And Sakala might be a centre forward, but I'm sorry, we're looking for what we would know as a centre forward. Then that's what we need. We need someone that's going to go in there and score goals.
You almost need, obviously, different players, Billy, don't you, for your perhaps for your home games and as compared to your away games, because away from home, we have managed to score goals. It's sometimes at Ibrox, as Bridge alluded to there, we're struggling to break down that low block. And Cholak was really early signs that he was going to maybe be the guy to do that for us, Billy, particularly at home at Ibrox with these kind of stubborn defences. But he wouldn't necessarily maybe play in some of the away games. You definitely need a mix of different types of players, Billy.
Yep, you've got to hear a mix. It's horses for courses, isn't it? Type thing. Obviously, when you're playing at Ibrox, as we all know, teams are got to come in, they're got to sit in, and they're no interested in moving. They'll just they'll be disciplined and they'll keep their shape, because that they'll maybe get 1 or 2 chances within the game, and if they can score the chances when they come, then it gives them something to defend. You know what I mean? Because if for talking sake, if Rangers are going to one of these games at home, and we didn't start properly, and this team maybe get a chance early doors and they score, that's the first thing they've got to do. They've got to sit back in, and so you're not just chasing the game, you're not just trying to open them up in the game at a 0-0. You're now a goal behind, which makes it double harder to try and open these teams up, because they will not come out. But when you look at it when we go away from home, teams are prepared to come out a wee bit more, and that suits us down to a T, because we can go out and we can start to impose our style of football in these games, and our league games, and it's shown how different the two games are at home and away, how teams set up against us home and away. So that's a good thing as well. But regarding the sharing the goals as well around the team, we've got to do that more. And I actually like Big Batch or Cholach. I like him. I like what he's a natural. To me, he looks like a natural goal scorer. I don't know if he's going to be a Rangers number 9 that's just got to be suited to that system. We're playing one as a figure front up top on himself. I don't know if that's his style or no. But for him to score goals, that's got to be put down to the rest of the team and the players round about him to create chances for him in the box, because if they don't create chances, then the big man becomes isolated, and when he comes isolated, that's when you have the problem, because there's nothing happening in front of him. And Cholak's game's all about in the box. You get the ball into the box, and 9 times out of 10, he'll put the ball away. And he started his career at Rangers really well, and unfortunately, he got injured. One of many, as we all well know. But let's hope the big man's fit and healthy and all, and can get a good pre-season under his belt as well. And he kicks on next year and gives the manager another headache.
Yeah, talking about. On you go, Bridge.
I was going to say, I think if you think about young Raskin and the we call Cantwell, they're lovely players as they're moving up close to the box, and they like to play close. And you've got some other players who can actually. Lundstrom's no bad at the short sharp passing, and Cholak could pick up on that and get you some goals. But to break that block. Other than that, you need somebody really big and really strong, and is willing to actually barge them. So you need somebody way over 6 feet to barge into these guys, take whatever flak's coming your way. It breaks an opening. It's like a wedge through them, It creates a space. Other than that, we're going to be stuck doing the same things. Or we get some guys that can shoot the ball, or hit the ball very hard, and at the same time hit the ball with a bit of spin on it. Know what they're doing. Score, but over the heads and beat the keeper that way, Sorry, I didn't interrupt you earlier.
No, I was just going to say, talking about Antonio Cholak, he got the Goal of the Season award at it was the Player of the Year awards last night for Rangers, and he got the Goal of the Season. It was voted for by the supporters. And it was his away goal to PSV that basically took us into the Champions League. It was maybe a wee bit of a surprise, that one, Billy, because it wasn't spectacular, for example, like the Tav free kick at Parkhead, but it might have just been the importance of the goal, Billy, that maybe that's what the supporters voted for.
Aye, that's the thinking I got as well. That's how I was thinking it along as well. You know what I mean? That took us into the Champions League, so obviously it was a massive goal. And it doesn't matter if it's a wonder strike for 35 yards flying into top corner, or it's a brilliant football goal, or it's just a tap-in. You know what I mean? The significance and the importance of the goal and the revenue that brought to the club was massive. And it's crazy to think when you actually look back at it, at the two different scenarios. It was Cholak that put us out. Into the Champions League the season before it, and it just shows you how things turn round and the game twists. And the big here he is, instead of putting us out, he's putting us back into the Champions League. That's crazy. If somebody had said that a couple of years ago, you would have never believed it, wouldn't you?
No, certainly wouldn't. I mean, everybody's got their own opinion on what perhaps a goal of the season should be. Like whether it's a spectacular effort that goes in off the crossbar or something, Bridge, or an important goal. But it would be good to hear from people if you maybe want to call in and give us your goal of the season. It's 0141 356 1972. Call in and tell us what your Rangers goal of the season is. It would be nice to hear from you. Bridge, another award that we maybe thought that Antonio Cholak was going to get was the first team top scorer. It's the Sam English Bowl that went to James Tavernier with 18 goals. And the start that Cholak made, Bridge, I think he got something like, was it 14 goals before the break for the World Cup? And we thought he was going to go on and maybe get 30, Bridge.
Yeah, I've said this before with us, but they come out with all these, let's break the season up and things like that. That isn't any very, for a club like ours, that's no good. If you run this season and you're getting the emphasis up and momentum and all that, take a 4-week holiday. No, it's not right. It's just not. Don't get me wrong. We all want a 4-week holiday. My God, how's your club going to? How are you going to survive? So some clubs manage it. I'm afraid that sometimes we don't come back to a break very good. We've not got a great history of doing it anyway. But it's really difficult, and I mean seriously difficult. And I just think that when you get someone like Cholak, Cholak could score a lot of goals for us. He could. We need to get him back after his injury. I don't know what's wrong with him. Do you guys know?
Billy, any, I don't know. I mean, we've not really heard about Cholak, and actually we've stopped talking about him. Oh, I'll just cut across you. Is that Tam? Are you in, Tam?
I'm in.
How are you? What's on your mind?
No, I was listening to you talking about this Park Bus defences we're up against. We've got two players there, and that's we're letting one go. It can break down him with the ease. Scotty Arfield, that's his game, is running through these defences. And if you've got a fit Cholak up front, that's your supplier for Cholak. But you've also got wee Hadji, 2 feet. He can break him down to 8. He's done in the past. And yet, he doesn't use them in them positions. I'm just wondering what you think about him.
He's no fit. He's not ready yet, I don't think. He didn't look very good weekend there. And I'm very pleased for him getting a really good goal, getting involved in the game so much. I still think he's going to easily 4 or 5 weeks before he could even start serious training. And I'm talking about pre-season, you know. So he's got a bit to do. Obviously, the guy's quality, high quality, and there's a lot of folk desperate to see him touching that high quality spark mark again. They're really nice.
Tam, would you give Arfield a new contract?
Yes, I'd give him a year. But he's not a 90-minute player. He never was. He's a great 45-minute player. And he'll give you 110% in them 45 minutes. And he makes some of your players look like they're statues when he's on that part. It's just unfortunate the age of him. Right? But I would gladly give him another year's contract.
Yeah. Billy, he's got 9 goals and he's only started 12 games, Scotty Arfield.
There you go.
No, Tam. Hi, Tam. Listen, mate. You've made a lot of good points here regarding Arfield. I like Scotty Arfield as well. He's obviously, we all know he's not got 90 minutes in him, start to finish type thing. But Scotty Arfield's merely a squad player. He's one of the type impact players that we.
Aye, there's one impact.
You can trust him to bring him on, and he'll get you a goal. He's done it up at Aberdeen, and he scored twice. And I'm sure one of the goals, I can't remember who it was. Maybe somebody will know. Remember the goal we scored at Ibrox against one of these low block teams and all, when I think there was 30 odd passes up to the goal, and who was the guy who made the run beyond the centre forward to put the ball in the back of the net? It was Scotty Arfield. So that's the attribute Scotty Arfield brings to the game, and you're right what you're saying. He likes to make the runs into the box, and that's how to break these low block teams down. When the day come out, he's prepared to do that, and that's something that we've no got. Regarding Cholak as well, Cholak is a penalty box player. If we get the service into the big man, he'll score goals. It's as simple as that. That's what we need. And you've got wee Hadji coming back there for an injury. Hopefully now which we all hope, he's fully recovered for his injury, and if we can get him a good pre-season under his belt as well, hopefully the wee man can kick on again next year as well, because Hadji's the type of player, he holds the key to open the doors in these situations, you know. So all in all, Tam, you're 3 fantastic points, mate, and you're bang on with every one of them.
Tam, there's been a bit of chat about Hadji, and you know, do you see him get? I know he's obviously got to get a match fitness up, but you know, there's some chat about how do you see him fitting into the Michael Beale team, and do you think he'll get enough minutes that would make him want to stay? And if you got a reasonable offer for him, Tam, in terms of a transfer, is he somebody that you think we would consider selling?
Well, I hope not, because we'll still see the best of him. Right? After this injury, we want to see the best of him. We want, without being harsh on that, we want our money's worth, if you know what I mean. The fans, we've been deprived of something that we can shout and bawl about. You know what I mean? Players. We're fed up hearing that other mob and how they're doing and this, that and the next thing. They're not that great, and we've proved that. They didn't beat us in the last games. We beat ourselves. And I would like to hold on to our players who can beat and do these teams. I wouldn't do the knee-jerk reaction and sell them. Like, I know we're a selling club just now, right? But we've got to reach a stage where we can keep them a bit longer and benefit from them.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
No, I think that's a good point. Bridge, what's your views on Hadji? Stick with him?
Yeah, I think yes, we've got to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know how long he's got his official contract, but I would imagine he's got 2 years plus. I could be wrong there. I imagine he'll be 2 years plus on him.
Yeah, 2025, Bridge.
There you go then. So he's got another 2 seasons to go with us, I would assume. And based on that, you've got to keep him. If he looks okay after a pre-season, you get the first maybe 4 or 5 games in, see what he's like. And we have to play him. We have to play him all these games, because then you can start asking him to sign a new contract, a new extension, because he's a valuable player, very, very valuable player. He's got a lot of skills, a lot of skills.
Tam, what's your thoughts on Michael Beale's 2 signings so far in Cantwell and Rascan?
It's a breath of fresh air, isn't it? Me say, I've been a Rangers supporter since I was 6 years of age, right? And very few and far players excite me. You know, where I would gladly play double money to get in and watch. Cantwell's one of them, and Wee Raskin. Yeah. And the other one is Ridvan at the back. You can't forget that boy either. The 3 of them excite me. The 3 of them fill me with hope for my team in the future.
Yeah, and do you expect Ridvan to be given more time now? And what's your thoughts on Borna and where both of them will fit in going forward?
Well, I like Big Borna, but I think he's kind of reaching the end, if you know what I mean. And we might be better at getting rid of him now, making a couple of ball and shoving that boy in his place.
Billy, what do you think about Barisic? If we get an offer for him, he's going into his final year, Billy, so if you got a couple of million, the club might be as well to take it.
Aye, listen, the big man's done well for his time at Rangers, hasn't he, Big Borna? But it would make sense, because listen, when we think back what could have been for talking's sake, how Morelos and Kent, the scenario where the contracts have been running down. Obviously, we'll know who's going to be leaving until the manager obviously comes out with and tells us in the next 2 or 3 days or whatnot. But we're no one to see another football player who's contributed to Rangers go out the door for nothing, going a freebie. You know what I mean? Because if we're going to go down that road, it makes no business sense whatsoever. But obviously, every player at the club's got a price tag, you know. And I mean, if somebody comes in with a crazy offer for one of our players, then it's got to be considered. And that doesn't. It doesn't matter who it is. Suppose it's your Rangers number 9, your goalkeeper, or whatever position in the park. As if it's going to help the club to move forward financially, then that's just, unfortunately, that's the way it is, you know.
And Bridge, we don't really want to be in the situation we are again. We Kent and Morelos, in the final year of their contract. Obviously, we never offer them an extension, but you don't really want to be in that position again, Bridge, where players are leaving for nothing when you've actually paid quite a substantial sum to bring them in. I know. Morelos only cost £1 million, Bridge. We've got our money's worth out of him, but we did pay quite a lot of money for Kent, Bridge, didn't we?
Yeah,
7 million.
7.5 million or something like that. And look, I think you also got these money's worth out of him anyway. He got his star man in Europe for us and took us through to the final in Seville. It's obviously this last season. It was just no one. He looked as if he didn't want to play. There may have been a few games in the season before it, maybe some and Petty and things like that. He took a wee injury. But really and truly, he was a tremendous player in his own right. but my goodness, he was a pale shadow. His games that he plays for us this season, a very pale shadow of the guy who we signed, really and truly. And we need to we can never, ever allow ourselves to get into that again. We need to either get the guy out the door with 2 years left in his contract. Just sell him, no matter what it is. If he's not going to sign a new contract, sell him. Start your negotiations, 2 years to go, sell him. Just put him out the door. That's what good managers do. They make the turnaround quick. If this guy doesn't know if he's ever going to sign, you take him into the office and you ask him, "You want to sign?" "Oh no, think about it. Well, come back to me tomorrow." And other than that, we know about you then. Simple as that.
Yeah, good points, Bridge. Well, we're moving into the last half hour of the show. If you want to give us a wee call in, let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
So, Tam, we've heard the manager saying himself, these number of players going out, there's quite a high number coming in. But for yourself, what's your kind of key positions that we need to strengthen?
I think we need the forward. We need a player that's going to come through that middle and express train. Right, we call them false 9, false 10, whatever. We need a player in that position. And that's where you maybe upset people if I say that's where I would play Hadji. That's where I would put Hadji in there and Baldwin about him, and Baldwin Cantwell, Baldwin Ridvan. So you're looking for at least another defender, a central defender. You're looking for, I would say, another one, maybe two midfielders, right? And I would put Tavernier in front of the defender and let him do his thing. I love a big guy. I think his record's tremendous, but he's not an out-and-out defender. He's definitely not an out-and-out defender. I played defence, and I wouldn't venture as half as he did. I've had the skill. I'd have played up front, not at the back.
Well, there you go, Billy. Somebody with similar thoughts to your good self.
That's exactly right. I mean, Tam, you're spot on. I mean, it's as blatant as the end of your nose. You know what I mean? Just shove him up one and then get somebody in that's going to cover for him. Somebody that's going to be a natural fullback in there that is going to defend. And then what you're doing is you're taking away the weakness of Tavernier defending, because you've got somebody that's got to defend properly in that position. Plus, you're playing to your strengths, and you're playing to James Tavernier's strengths by pushing him up one and pushing him forward. For talking's sake, I mean, God rest his soul, Fernando Rickson. Big Alec McLeish done that with Fernando. He put him right in the middle of the park, and look how much Fernando flourished. Maybe Tavernier at 31-year-old. We have got nothing to lose by trying that. And if we don't try it, we'll never know, mate.
That's true.
Yeah. Fred, surely there must be some games that we can try different formations like that.
You would think when we're not stupid, but at the same time, we follow forward, don't we? Go and see them. And if we see something at a place, then we want them to go back to what it was. That's exactly what the Rangers fans are like. You know, why have we got Tavernier up halfway? Why have we got him as a midfielder? He should be at the back here. You know, that kind of nonsense, you know. He should be 3 at the wing and running. They're stifling his skills. I've discussed things like this a million times. He should hear them at Ibrox when we talk about these things as well. It's the same scenario, you know. We should be able to push Tavernier up. Maybe you could, but you need to bring someone in that can play football. I mean, really good football. You know, the best I've seen that could cover for Tav was a wee guy, Candias, the Portuguese guy. Him and Tav had a great partnership. When one went up, when Tav went up, he dropped back. I'm not saying he dropped back to right back, but he dropped back. And that meant he could swap over, because Tav was really good at finding the ball and getting the ball across the park, which, as I said earlier, that's what you're looking for, somebody who can cross the ball. Yeah, in there, because you've got guys in there who can fight for the ball and put it in the net.
And Tam, the guy that been linked with, is it Dijon Sterling? I think he perhaps is a right back. He can play right back, and I think he can play centre back. So you might have an ideal player there coming in that would allow us to actually do that with Tav.
Aye. I've heard about him. The boy's supposed to be really good. So here's hoping he hits the ground running, because that's what we need. We can't afford to have hangers on anymore. We're through that period, right? And it nearly costs us like the fans. You know what I mean? So we're through that period. We want people to hit the ground running, and I think Beale knows who he's looking for and what positions to cover. That I've got confidence in him for.
And if you get confidence in him, Billy, Michael Beale, do you think we've seen enough, and even tactically and the way that he speaks about the players, he's got a good, understanding of what he's got available to him, but also what he needs to bring in?
I think I liked what I seen to start with, Linda, with Michael Beale, and I could see what he was trying to do, how he was setting the team up and how he tweaked the system a wee bit regarding the giving the players more freedom to move about the park, and the front three and the one up top and whatnot, and the two centre holding midfielders going to swap them about and joining in, and then he's obviously getting the fullbacks pushing up nice and high up the park. But I think the one that swung it for me was the game at Ibrox here against that mob for across the city. Because that was a massive game, in my opinion, for Michael Beale, because we all expected Rangers to win that one, and I think if he didn't win that one, then the jury would have been really out on the gaffer, but he passed that test with flying colours, so he's obviously learned for the previous Old Firm games, first and foremost what he had at his disposal regarding putting a team on the park, and with fitness wise and different things that all plays into the actual starting 11 type thing. But he learned for all that, and he is new. When I see the likes of the two players he's brought in, with Raskin and Cantwell, I really like the two of them, and I'm a big fan of Cantwell, and I'm a big fan of Raskin. So if that's the calibre of footballers he's got his eye on, and he's prepared to learn, because what I know, he's still a rookie manager as well. He's making mistakes as he goes along, but going on that evidence on the positive side of the things with Michael Beale, then I'm looking forward to the summertime and seeing this new look Rangers team the start of the next season, because the signs are starting to look very positive.
Yeah, Tam, it was a big game for him, wasn't it? The Celtic game, after we obviously lost the semi-final, we thought there's nothing really left to play for now. We went into the games, after the split, and it's just given us a bit of hope, and it also bought him a wee bit of time, Tam, but albeit he needs to make a good start to next season. Oh,
aye, but we've always been a two-style team. We've got a European style and we've got a domestic style. It's when you try to integrate the European with the domestic is where you make mistakes, because you've not got the same time on a ball. These people are hitting you like express trains. That is the domestic game. That's what was letting us down. We were still trying to play European football on a domestic level, and it wasn't working. And we stood out like sore thumbs, right, at times. And it was really depressing to watch at times, because you knew the players were good players in Europe, but it didn't look so good in domestic. And I think that's the problem. And I think he's learning now, because he Postecoglou, whatever you call him, in his back pocket in that game. And you can see it a mile away. He knew his tactics. He had him beat, even without kicking a ball.
That's a good point Tam makes, Bridge, about the European football and then coming back into play domestic football, because I know obviously under Steven Gerrard, when Beale was here, even under Gerrard, Bridge, we sometimes struggled with that as well. So we're hoping that Beale will have learned lessons and he will be able to manage the two next season. Bridge?
We've struggled with these things for many, many, many years. Since we,
Come off of you.
can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, sorry. I'm saying we've struggled with that type of scenario for a long, long, long time since we started going into European football. You saw, we found out the Europeans could play both. They had their own league team, and some of them were good enough to have that many players. They could create two teams. And people tried that. When we were good, we tried to do that as well. It's not that long ago we used to say, even under Souness, we'd say, we want a team for the SPL, we want a team for European games. That's what you were looking for. We spent a lot of money on players to try and achieve that. I'm not saying we ever did achieve it, but that's what we tried to achieve. And yeah, it's a great sentiment, isn't it? Just if you can get quality players, European level, you don't have to burn them out in the league games, That'd be brilliant. But it never ever happened for us, right? All the way. And unless anybody else can remember when we did have two types of teams. And I don't think we'll ever get there. I don't think we'll get the finance to do that.
And Billy, the Champions League qualifiers, they'll be upon us before we know it.
That's exactly right. My personal opinion is I don't think we're going to be ready for it. I hope I'm wrong, because I know what the financial clout it brings to the club. I want us to go. I want to see us to go through these games. I want us to be playing in the Champions League. But going by the evidence of what we've seen in this season's Champions League, we were nowhere near ready. I thought it was a step up just too quick. But I get the money side and the revenue it brought to the club. So that was a bit of a double-edged sword. Now, we've got to remember as well that Michael Beale has just come in here and he's got to be building a team for, first and foremost, to win our bread and butter. And that comes with winning winning the league and becoming champions in your domestic football. But the games are going to come thick and fast in the Champions League. And when these players come in, let's hope that the manager and the background team and the people that's doing the transfers have all done their homework properly, and they've got these players ready to come in. And these players that do come in, they're got to be put together in jig time, and they're all going to need to gel quick and hit the ground running. That's the way it is when you're at Rangers. And obviously with the football scenario regarding the UEFA point scoring system, teams get into the Champions League and you're getting in through qualifiers. And I think we've maybe shot ourselves in the foot a couple of times because we've built up, Rangers Football Club have built up all the credibility and got the European coefficient type thing back where it should be. And there's a certain club across the city are reaping the benefit for our hard effort. You know what I mean? But as I said, regarding what Tam was saying there as well, Linda, it was a good point as well. We've got to, when you think about, we can't have two teams for playing domestically and playing in European football. I mean, the players have got to adapt to that scenario, because at the top level in Europe, which was blatantly obvious, at the top table in the Champions League, the players at that level, they're super fit than they are in Scotland in domestic football. They think quicker, their brains are a lot sharper, and they move the ball a lot sharper as well. And any scenario in the game or any mistakes in the game, the top players in Europe will find their weaknesses and they will punish you. You will not get a chance, because before you know it, you're a goal down or 2 goals down. And that's what the top players do you if you're not on the ball. That's exactly what you get away with it. And when you're playing domestic football, because the players are not at that level. But at the top level, that's what happens. You get punished.
Yeah. And Tam, it is trying to get a balance, isn't it, in terms of the European and the domestic football, because we know Europe's a major revenue stream for us in terms of the money that we can make. But see, as fans, we want to win trophies. We want to win. We want domestic success. You know,
of course.
Isn't it?
That's your bread and butter. You're not getting to Europe if you don't do that at home. That's the point. And these players should realise that. I mean, see, if you're a player of that calibre we're bringing in, right, you should be able to play different styles. You're getting big money for it. You're not there to spectate. You're there to prove a point that you're good enough at any level to kick a ball and possibly score.
And Bridget, it's going to be quite a tall order for Beale. You know, if we're going to be bringing in the number of players that's been muted that we're going to need to try and get everybody to gel. You've got Champions League qualifiers. You've then got the domestic campaign that will kick off fairly quickly. It is a tall order, Bridge, isn't it?
Oh, and how, very tall. I wish the guy. You know how I wish, because I'm a Rangers man through and through. I want us to do well. But we can't go through and with the performances that we had in the Champions League last year. We have to be better. We got through the qualifications, or we got through the qualifications, and we did absolutely nothing in the group stages. Absolutely nothing. I can't even remember. I don't think we had a point. We had 1 point, and that was really bad. So how are we going to get better when we get better players in? And that's up to the board and the manager and his scouting team. They have to go and get better players. They really do. And by the way, I'm forgetting the calibre of the boys that he's brought in and out. I don't know how much they paid for what's his name? I can't remember the wee Belgian boy's name. I can never remember what's his name.
Raskin.
Raskin.
I don't know how much we paid for him. Have you any idea?
We paid just over $1.5 million for him and Cantwell each.
Well, for the two of them, so each that's $3 million.
3 million.
3 million. And what about the boy, the left back?
Yilmaz was just about $3.5 million for him, Bridge.
So we're talking about $5 million anyway spent so far. I think that's no bad, but I don't know if we're going to. I think you're going to have to at least double that to bring in quality players. It's going to be interesting. I'm intrigued by the whole thing, because I really do think Rangers need to get through any qualifications, and we need to get some wins under our belt and get some cash out of the European. It'd be great if we could even think of it or dream about qualifying. But we need to be able to play football. The team that we've got now, good as I say they are, there need to be a couple of additions in there, maybe four additions, good quality players. I had my doubts about the goalkeeper, as I said earlier in the game. I'm no problem with him against Celtic. It just wasn't 100% against Hibs. For some reason, it wasn't there.
Yeah. I think that's probably a good point as well, that a lot of fans are maybe saying that, Billy, about, we've got to give McCrory, we've got to be patient with him. But that's what we're like, isn't it? After, the Celtic game, we were all saying, do we need to go and buy a goalie? And now after the Hibs game, we're maybe thinking, we actually do. It's just, that's football, isn't it, Billy?
Aye, listen, we didn't... as you rightly said there, what we seem to forget is as well, this lad has only played a handful of games for Rangers as a Rangers goalkeeper. You know what I mean? So he's still trying to strike up an understanding with what's in front of him. And if I'm not playing a settled back four week in, week out, you know what I mean? It's going to affect him. Listen, the lad he came out, it's a typical goalkeeper scenario. If it doesn't matter if it's McCrory or any goalkeeper in the world for that matter, Peter Shilton or whoever it case may be. They all made me. Andy Gorham. Look at Andy Gorham when he made his debut for Rangers as well. He had a howler when he came out for the crossbar. I think it was against Hearts. So it happens. But we just need to try and be a wee bit realistic and give the boy a chance. You know what I mean? But let's see if we can get a good, strong, settled back four playing in front of him. You know, because he's still, I mean, in my opinion as well there, he's maybe trying to say to himself, well, when they boys for talking sake come into the box like that, he's maybe saying to himself, well, if my centre-halves are not got to deal with it, I'll need to go and deal with it. So he's taking that responsibility upon himself to go and try and nullify that effect, you know? So when that ball comes into the areas for type, I mean, it happened at the weekend. He tried to come through a crowd of players to go and win the ball. You know what I mean? So in situations like that as well, I'm sure Bridge will tell you, you'll be looking for your big centre-half, a Bridgeman centre-half, 6'10", to go and nod that away at the road, and then your keeper doesn't need to come for boys, you know? And then we win.
Tam, I suppose, is a goalkeeper still a priority position that you think we need to fill?
Well, see, probably different thinking the way Billy is. I would bring in another goalkeeper as encouragement for the one we've got. Right? Use that kind of scenario. Walter Smith used to do it, bring in goalkeepers just to keep Gorham on his toes.
Yep.
Right? And I think that scenario can maybe work now if we bring one in. That big boy is a great keeper. Right? When's the last time you seen one of your keepers coming out for a ball? Attacking a ball. The only thing he lacks is he keeps thinking about the players in front of him. I'm talking about marine defenders. They're there to be shuttled like the rest of them. If the ball's yours, you take it. They'll learn to stay back. You go through them as well as the opposing players to get that ball.
Yeah. And I suppose, Bridge, our defenders have been used to playing with a goalie like McGregor, who's not really come off his line the last couple of seasons, Bridge. So I suppose it's getting a balance, isn't it?
Indeed. McGregor really weaknesses too. And when he did come out for the ball and saved them, he looked a more complete goalkeeper. He's a wonderful shot stopper and great for revving the boys up, giving them some stick, you know, the back. But if he stays in his line, then it can be a nightmare. The young lad that we've got in now, McCrory, we've only seen him twice this season, and I think anything, if my memory serves me right, it was only twice. But I think he played earlier on in the season. I think, you know, if you think about him, he looked nervous, and I don't know why he was nervous. Only he could tell the manager, and hopefully the manager will get to the end of all it and get it solved out. Because this is our goalkeeper, and I don't want to go and spend money on a goalkeeper if we don't need to. But at the moment, we've got McLaughlin's leaving and McGregor's leaving, so you've got one goalkeeper plus a youngster goalkeeper. You need to bring at least one in for sure, and hopefully that's a number one.
Well, guys, we've reached that time of the evening. We'll start to wrap up the show. So, Tam, thanks for calling in.
My pleasure.
As Ox would say, don't be a stranger. Made some really great points, Tam, and it was really good to hear from you.
Thanks very much. And the whole team of you are doing a great job. What a show. I say that every week in the comments. It's lovely listening to this.
Cheers, Tam. And as I say, no doubt you'll be calling in again. It'll be great to hear from you.
Aye, I'll be there.
Cheers,
I'll
Tam.
know you. Well, I'm going to go now anyway, so good night to everyone, and thanks for the show.
Cheers,
Good night.
job.
All the best, pal. Take care.
And tell Juicy on the phone he's doing a grand job.
Cheers,
Right,
Tam.
good night.
Good night. Billy, final words for your good self.
Yeah, it was a cracking wee debate tonight again on a Monday night, talking about the greatest team on the planet. Brilliant topics, great scenarios, good crack, good banter. Tam made a lot of great points as well. It's great to hear callers coming on like that and picking their brains about different things about how they should see the Rangers moving forward. It's great, but thanks for having us on tonight, Linda, and thanks to my wingman there, to the Bridgeman as well, the legend that is the Bridgeman. Thank you.
Cheers, Billy. Bridgeman.
What we're going to say, Linda, a tremendous night. Well done to yourself And of course, thank you to Billy for looking after me. And of course, the techie boys in the background. And to all the Rangers fans all over the world, in particular Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio. Remember this, next game is the biggest game of the season. We need to get ready and we need to win it. And I've been ill, and I haven't been at Ibrox for a wee while, and I'm going to try my best to get there on Wednesday night. I'll be there. Keep it going for the Rangers, everybody. Keep it going.
Can I thank Billy and Bridge for being on the show tonight? Really enjoyed the chat. It was fantastic to be on with the two of them again. Can I thank Fox and Terry on the technicals, and to everybody for listening. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night talking about all things Rangers. Take it away, Foxy.
I sailed the wild Atlantic, across the broad Pacific shore. I sailed around the stormy capes, and I've heard the forties roar. I've climbed the Indian Ocean, and I've sailed the China Sea. But there's a sea back home in Scotland, more than all the rest to me. It's the